everybody. So today is my first Vampire Diaries look. I am so excited about it, like so excited. And anyways, so today's look, I don't know if you can tell, I hope you can tell, it's kind of the point, is obviously Catherine Pierce or Katerina Petrova, whichever you would like to say. So long story short, I used to watch The Vampire Diaries back when I was in high school. I watched the first 3 seasons, loved it so much. It was so good, but then my senior year of high school, I kind of felt like I shouldn't watch it anymore. Like, it's not something that I think is like bad if you watch it. It's just one of those things where I personally felt like God was kind of like putting it on my heart not to watch it, so I don't watch it anymore. So a lot of, hold on, I feel like that's really light. Okay. A lot of the inspiration of how I got the look for this is actually because I looked up screen caps of the show. I remembered what, Catherine Pierce looked like, obviously, but as far as like to get her specific makeup, I looked at pictures because I don't watch it anymore, so I didn't want to like start watching it and get addicted again. So, okay, so Christian nugget really quickly. Okay, so if you're like me at all, you are a very easily guilted person. I'm very easy to guilt trip. I feel guilty really easily. And I'm just like that. I don't like disappointing people. Something that I had been doing is every night I had been doing my devotional, and lately I have not been. And I cannot say that it's just because I've had homework, because what I'll do is I'll do homework, and then it'll be like 9 o'clock, and I've got like an hour before I have to go to bed, and so I'll just lay on the couch. And here's the thing. Let me explain this to you. This has been like a month I've been doing this. I never do that. Never, ever in my life have I been the person, well, not in my life, but in this last year, I'm not the person who will just lay on the couch and do nothing. No. I will do next week's homework if I have to. I'm always doing something. I'm never, ever just laying around. For me, this last couple of, I'd probably say 2 months or so, I've been laying on the couch in the evenings or just sitting there watching TV for like the last hour in the evening, and it's felt really nice. Since I've been doing that, I have not been doing my devotional at night. I pray in the morning on the way to school, and it's like I pray for other people, and then I have like a conversation with God for a good 20 minutes on the way to school. But I felt really guilty, like I'm failing because I haven't been doing my devotional at night. And one day this last week, I decided to skip class, and I was driving home, and I was listening to Christian music on the radio, and it just hit me all of a sudden that God's not disappointed in me because I'm not doing my devotional every night. He loves that I take the time to spend time with him every morning on the way to school. He loves that I talk to him, that I'm trying, that he is at the center of my life, that he is the focus of my life. And so if you're somebody who struggles with giving time to God, don't feel guilty. It's something that we all struggle with, and he understands the struggle. If you're giving any amount of time to him, if you're just being sincerely offering him what you have, he's not disappointed in you for that. Does that make sense at all to anybody out there? Don't judge yourself so harshly on whether or not you're giving enough time, or whether or not you're doing it right, or, I sit at my table at night with a devotional open and I don't feel anything. And I sit there for 20 minutes waiting to feel something and nothing happens. Don't feel guilty about that. The point is that you're there and you're willing and you're open. And if it's 10 minutes in the morning, if it's a half an hour at night, if it's 5 minutes, if it's an hour, whatever you can give, that's enough for God. And anyways, that's all I have to say. Let's just get into this video. Okay, so I'm going to start by priming my eyes as always, just so that my eyeshadow stays in place and doesn't move around. And to decrease a little bit of the tackiness on my eyes, I'm going to apply a little bit of face powder just so that the eyeshadows stick really well. Then I'm going in with a little bit of a warm brown as my transition color. I'm just going to take this into my crease, making sure that I kind of let it go up a little bit on that outer edge, because Catherine definitely has a very pulled up outer edge on her eye. It's a very kind of V shape on that outer edge. And then I'm going to bring that onto the inner corner as well, because I want this to be a very dramatic makeup look. So I want this, the crease colors to come pretty far in. So I'm going to put that transition color pretty much everywhere, and then kind of spin the rest of my brush, whatever product is left over, on all of my eye, just so that there's a little bit of a base going on. Then going in with a little bit of a darker brown, this is a little bit more chocolatey, going in with a denser brush, and I'm really going to start carving out that outer edge. But then I decided I didn't want that warm of a color. Her eyes are a little bit more neutral than that, so I'm going in with the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette. I'm going in with a little bit more of a neutral brown, but I'm still going to be doing that same thing, kind of trying to carve out that crease area and that outer V. Like I said, her eyes are very cat-like. They have like a very, very dramatic outer edge there, so I'm really trying to carve that out, just going back and forth, going back on a little bit more product, a little bit more product. Do not take, the best thing to do is take a little bit of product at a time, and just kind of build it up. It works better that way rather than trying to apply a lot at one time. And I'm kind of bringing that in towards the inner corner of my eye to deepen up that crease as well. Then I'm going to go in with the darker shade in this palette, and I'm going to focus this on that outer corner. I'm going to start very low and then work my way up into that outer V area and work my way inward. I'm really going to focus this on the outer edge there and the crease, and then work it in as I get a little bit more comfortable and get a little bit less product on my brush. So as you can see, I'm just going back in with that color and really just working it in to that area, trying to kind of build up the fading kind of intensity. I don't want it to be, you know, very harsh lines, so just going in with a little bit, like I said, at a time really makes a difference. And don't be afraid, because you can always blend this out and kind of clean it up later, like I'm doing right now. I'm blending these edges just to kind of make it a little bit more natural and a little bit less intense. We still want that intensity, but we don't want it to be like a scary intensity. So don't be afraid of the color. A blending brush is all you need to fix any mistakes that you make. Then I'm going back in with that darker shade and just kind of starting to work it in towards the middle of my eye, kind of trying just to increase the drama little by little, trying to match Katherine as best as I can. Then I'm going back in with that second color I used, and I am kind of going to be blending that into that darker color so that it looks very blended, very neutral, very faded. Because although her eye makeup is intense, there are not any harsh lines. So this is the best way to kind of create the look of no harsh lines, is to just go back and forth with different colors until you're happy with the way that it looks. Then going in with a very pretty kind of light taupey, shimmery, goldish kind of color. I don't even know what you'd call this. I'm going on the inner corner of my eye and kind of just on that lower lid, because she definitely has some shimmer going on there, but it's nothing that's super gold or anything like that. And then I'm just going to kind of go over those edges again to make sure they still look as intense as I want them. Then I'm going to go with some gel liner, and I'm going to create a wing. And I know this looks really bad, and it is. Do not do this, but for me to get that inner corner as best as I can, like super smooth, I have to pull on my eyelashes. I know, it's terrible for you, but whatever. And I'm just kind of trying to create a slight wing. She has a wing liner, definitely, but it's not like dramatic, whoa, you could cut somebody with this liner, you know. It's pretty laid back and chill. And then I'm cleaning up a little bit of that eyeshadow around the liner with a Q-tip. Then once I have done that, I'm going to put on some false lashes. These are the Demi Wispies by Ardell. I love these, and I just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of how I put them on, because I know sometimes when you're watching YouTube videos, they don't show you how they actually apply the lashes, like get them on. So I thought I would kind of let you guys see how I apply them. Everyone does it differently. You can use tweezers. They come with, like, if you buy like the big pack, they come with like a little plastic tweezer set, but I lost those and I don't know where they are, so. And I have just fallen in love with this foundation. I think the thing is, when I bought it a year ago and tried it, I didn't like it because the one that I bought didn't have a lot of product in it. But I think that the one I have now has, you know, when I opened it, like, it was like you push on the cushion and there's more product in it, so I like it a lot better. I still love my Milani, but this gives me good coverage without being quite as thick as the Milani. So when I want full coverage, I use a Milani foundation, but for a little bit more of a lighter foundation coverage, I use this one, and I love the way it looks. It's very natural and dewy and just kind of fresh. Then I'm going with my favorite concealer, which is the Maybelline Fit Me. And I'm just going to conceal the center of my face. I know this foundation is a little bit dark for me, but I'm going to lighten it up with this concealer so that it kind of matches better. Plus, Katherine is a little bit darker in complexion than I am, which, I mean, has a lot to do with where Nina Dobrev is from. Unfortunately, I do not have that beautiful dark complexion like that, so we're just going to roll with this. And then I'm going to continue to paint my face until it is all evened out. Then, taking a really dark foundation, the Maybelline Fit Me Foundation, I'm going to take an angled brush, which is actually, I think, an eye makeup brush, and I'm going to go ahead and contour my nose a little bit. So I'm just doing this very carefully down the edges of my nose, and I can kind of mimic Nina Dobrev's nose just a little bit. And at first I used the Beauty Blender. The thing is, usually when I contour, I use a powder on my nose. So this was a definitely kind of a new thing for me. So then I went back with my finger and blended it out because it looked a lot more natural using my finger. And the Beauty Blender was just, it was too big to try and not get that everywhere. So this worked a lot better for me. And then I'm going to do it on my, below my cheekbones. And I'm going to blend it out with the Beauty Blender. The Beauty Blender works great in this area because it's not such a precise area. It's not like you can't get it a little bit messier. It's not, you know, as big of a deal, so it's nicer. This is a trick that I learned from Bella Fiore. It's where you pull down after you've put on all your makeup and you wipe out all of the concealer that's piled up into your creases, and you just kind of wipe it away, and then you just blend out again, and it totally gets rid of the creasing. It's amazing. I love it. And then I'm going to set my face with some powder, as you can see right here. Then I'm going to go with a bronzer from the NYX palette, and I'm going to just kind of deepen up that contour just a little bit. Now that I'm looking at this, I probably should have contoured my nose a little bit more, but oh well, what you gonna do? And then I kind of stamped out a little bit below that contour just because it looked a little bit messy, and I wanted to kind of clean it up a little bit. So with the leftover concealer on my Beauty Blender, kind of just clean it up a little bit, and then I continued to add bronzer to the rest of my face on the outer edges to kind of give myself a little bit more definition to my face. Then I'm adding a very nice kind of peachy kind of glow with this Milani Baked Blush. Applying this to the apples of my cheeks. Then going in with the Becca Jaclyn Hill Champagne Glow palette, I'm going to use Champagne Pop, and unfortunately I think this is something I'm probably going to have to continue to repurchase for the rest of my life because I'm in love. And I'm going to use this as a highlight on my cheekbones. And then using the Chocolate Bonbons palette, I'm going to go back in with those darker colors, as you can see here, and I'm going to do my lower lash line. And I went in with a pencil brush actually instead of that thicker brush just so I get more precise. And I'm going to do the lighter color first and then the darker color on top of it, just on like the outer 3/4 of my lash line. And then I'm going to apply mascara to my lower lash line as well. Then I went ahead and filled in my brows. I tried to make them look as much like Catherine's as I possibly could. Hers are definitely more squared than mine, and a lot straighter going along that line. So I definitely did my best to try and fill them in like hers. And then I'm going to take some concealer and kind of try and outline those on the underneath side just so that gives them a little bit of a lift and kind of helps to carve that out a little bit better. Then I'm using some clear brow gel just to set those in place so they don't move all day long. Then using Champagne Pop, I'm going to highlight my brow bone. I also use that same highlight for my inner corner. Then I am lining my lips. She definitely has a mauve kind of lip color going on that's a little bit deep, and unfortunately in this footage, I'm not sure why, but it looks a lot redder than it is in person. In person it's a lot deeper than this, a lot more mauve and a little bit of a brown tone to it, but for some reason this footage it does. It looks just kind of like ruby reddish, which it's not. And so then I went with the NYX Butter Gloss because her lips definitely look glossy, not matte, and this lipstick is matte, so I wanted to give that a little bit more of a glossy look. Then for the hair, I'm going to apply some heat protectant before I begin. Then I parted my hair in two once I had gone ahead and made my new part to match hers, and then I I sectioned off my hair so that I have just the bottom layer to begin with, and I'm going to take my curling iron. I believe it's a Lumi. I think it's the 4-in-1, and I think this one's like a 1/2 inch barrel, and so I'm taking fairly small sections because she has such curly hair. I mean, who here wants Nina Dobrev's hair? Raise your hand. I do. And so I went in pretty small sections. That way I could get a little bit tighter curls and held them for like, I don't know, 20 seconds. And when there's such small curls like that, you don't have to recurl. Like there's no kinks or anything in it because there's not a lot of hair for the curling iron to actually have to heat up, which is really nice.
So then I just continued that process until that whole layer was curled, and then once all those pieces were curled, I went ahead and I let down the next layer, as you can see here. And then this is the finished product. Well, not the finished product, but this is after I've curled it. And then to get it a little bit more natural looking and a little bit more kind of messy the way Catherine's are, I'm going to just shake out my hair, literally. Just shake out your hair for like 10 straight minutes. And then once you've shaken it out, you can kind of mess with the curls, pull at them, play with them until you're happy with them. If you have bangs like me, you can lick them and pull them back the way I did here, which totally does not look attractive, but whatever. And that is the finished look. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I loved making it. It was so much fun. Please be on the lookout for my next Vampire Diaries looks. I'll be doing the next women coming up here pretty soon. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you like me. Follow me on social media and also on my website. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!